Hi, Tandy and I were just at a community meeting of Oak Ridge clergy, community group leaders, and law enforcement, and we were reflecting on how, as Oak Ridge, we want to respond to the events of Charlottesville last Saturday when KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups came out in full force, unapologetically spewing their bile and un-American values. Now, as a city, Oak Ridge is known from drawing from all over the world and known for drawing together across differences. There is a low risk of that activity happening in an organized fashion. At the same time, we know that we live in peculiar and distressing times in our country when extremism is being invited out of the shadows, when even national leaders are either fanning the flames of extremism or remaining silent as those flames are fanned. So we know that it is our responsibility as a community to be clear in unequivocal terms that hatred, Nazism, racism, white supremacy have no place in this city. Now, I was thinking, as our congregation is starting a weekly series of line dancing lessons next Wednesday, that this need not look like a rally or a protest only necessarily. It could look like inviting people to line dancing. And I'm thinking about this because one of the ideas that came out of this clergy meeting was organizing together deer hunters against racism. In other words, organizing something other than the usual suspects to come out and denounce bigotry and white supremacy. We can do this in our personal lives too. Have you reached out recently beyond whatever bubble you're in? And I know that there are some deer hunters in our congregation, so it may be reaching out to the non-deer hunters. But have you reached out recently to somebody who thinks differently, speaks differently, sees the world differently, to reach out in brotherhood, sisterhood, siblinghood, to connect with that person heart to heart in love and to share with them your sense of kinship? Your invitation to loving connection. Because I think that this nation is going to be turned by people who are clear in denouncing bad policies and extremist ideologies, and neighborhoods and towns will be turned by neighbors who are brave enough to reach out and to work on the hearts of one another, even as we work on our own hearts, being more generous, more charitable, more compassionate, more patient, more courageous, and more loving. Thank you for all that you do, and I hope that we can have an anti-racist line dancing good time next Wednesday and all the Wednesdays after that. See you at church.